Have you ever felt like investing is some kind of secret club you're not invited to? Well, it turns out there are some pretty powerful myths out there, some big lies, really, that might just be holding you back from building wealth. Today, we're going to bust them wide open.
So, let's kick things off with this number. Just 23% of people in the UK have ever invested in the stock market. And you know what? It's a pretty similar story in a lot of other places too. That means the vast majority of people are just sitting on the sidelines. So you've got to ask, right? What's stopping everybody else? For a whole lot of people, it's not actually about not having the money. It's about a set of fears and honestly misconceptions that make investing seem either totally terrifying or just impossible. We're going to tackle the 4 biggest ones.
And here's the big one. Myth number 1, this idea that investing is basically the same as walking into a casino and throwing your life savings on black. You hear it constantly, right? Oh, it's just too risky, it's just gambling.
Okay, but let's get something straight. They are worlds apart. Gambling is all about luck, and the odds are always rigged against you. The house is designed to win. Investing? That's about owning real pieces of actual businesses. Companies with employees that make stuff and that generate profits. You're not rolling the dice. You're taking part in the growth of the whole economy.
Now you can totally see why this myth sticks around. I mean, if you only look at investing over a single month, you would have lost money about 40% of the time. In that super short time frame, yeah, it absolutely can feel like a coin toss.
But check out what happens when you just stretch that timeline out to 10 years. All of a sudden, your chance of losing money just plummets down to 13%. The odds completely flip in your favor because time has a way of smoothing out all those crazy market bumps.
And here it is, the knockout punch. 0. In almost 100 years of data for big U.S. stocks, there have been 0 20-year periods where investors lost money even after you account for inflation. Think about that. So, over the long haul, investing isn't a gamble. It's historically been one of the most reliable ways to grow your money, period.
All right, let's jump into the second big barrier. That little voice in your head that says, I just don't know enough to invest. I'm not some Wall Street genius, so I shouldn't even try. This one, man, it paralyzes a lot of people.
So to bust this myth, I have to tell you this quick and totally true story. Back in 2012, a newspaper ran a stock picking contest. They had professional money managers go up against a group of high school students and a ginger cat named Orlando. Seriously, he made his stock picks by throwing his favorite toy mouse onto a grid of company names. So who won? Orlando the cat. He beat the pros by almost 400 quid.
Now, as much fun as Orlando's story is, it actually points to a really serious truth, and the data totally backs him up. Over the last 15 years, an absolutely staggering number of professional fund managers, we're talking nearly 9 out of every 10, failed to beat the overall market. So even the so-called experts have a really hard time being experts.
So, if the pros can't even reliably beat the market, what chance do the rest of us have, right? Well, there's a solution, and it's called an index fund. This is like your secret weapon. Instead of trying to find that one needle in a haystack, an index fund just lets you own a tiny little piece of the entire market. You're not betting on one company. You're just betting on the economy as a whole to keep growing over time, which, as we've seen, it tends to do.
Okay, on to myth number 3, and this one is huge. I just don't have enough money to get started. So many of us picture investors as these super wealthy people with giant portfolios, and we think we need thousands and thousands just to get in the game.
But that's just not true anymore. Let's just run a quick little scenario here. Imagine someone starts investing just £50 a month, and they start when they're 25. That's a pretty small, totally manageable amount, right? Now, let's picture another person. This person waits 10 years until they're 35, but they've got a better job, so they invest double the amount, £100 a month. Who do you think has more money when it's time to retire? The 25-year-old. They win. But how? It's all because of this magical thing called compounding. See, even though they invested less money overall, their money had a whole extra decade to grow on itself, kind of like a snowball rolling downhill. This proves that the most important thing isn't how much money you start with, it's how early you start. Time is your absolute greatest asset.
And that leads us perfectly into our 4th and final myth, which is really just an extension of the last one. It's that nagging voice of regret that says, I missed the boat, it's already too late for me to start.
So instead of looking backwards, let's look forward. That time is going to pass no matter what. Based on what the market has done on average, if you just started investing £200 a month today, in 15 years, that could grow to over £80,000.
If you could bump that up to $300 a month, you could be looking at over £120,000. It is definitely not too late to build something really significant for your future.
And here's the silver lining of starting a little bit later. Chances are you're earning more money in your 30s or 40s than you were in your 20s. That means you actually have more financial firepower to put to work every single month, which can help you catch up a lot faster than you might think.
So, when we put all this together, what's the big picture? All these myths that it's gambling, that you're not an expert, you don't have enough cash, it's too late, they're actually really comforting, aren't they? They give us the perfect excuse to just wait. But that waiting, that is the real risk.
So let's just recap the truths, okay? Investing is owning businesses, not placing a bet. You don't need to be an expert. You learn this stuff by doing it. When you start matters way more than how much you start with. And no matter how old you are, it is never, ever too late to start building a better financial future.
I really just want to leave you with this one last thought. These myths make us delay, and that delay has a real cost. The single most expensive financial decision you'll ever make isn't picking the wrong stock. It's waiting to get started in the first place. The time is going to pass anyway. You might as well put it to work for you.